Welcome everyone. My name is Marita Fraser. As Georgina said, I'm head of the BA Fine Art. Um, so I'm just going to give you a little overview of the course today, a little bit about the structure, but not too much. And then, yeah, Georgina will sort of talk a little bit more about fees and so on. So Georgina, are you okay to move the slides along? Yeah. Yeah, and on to the next one. Yep. So just a very quick introduction about myself. I did an undergraduate study in painting, and then went on to do a postgraduate study at the Academy of Fine Art in Vienna in more expanded sculpture, and then went on to do a PhD at the Royal College of Art in London into fine art practice. And so I have a sort of broad ranging art practice from painting into expanded painting, performance, filmmaking, installation, moving image. And as such, really like to think about how, as undergraduate students, you can find your voice as artists, learn some skills, and bring that to an audience. And that's really what we're looking to do, but within a degree context, within the fine art degrees, which are a BA Fine Art Honours and the grad dip. So this is the only diagram I'm going to share with you, I promise. And this is the structure of the two degrees I just mentioned. So the BA Hons is a 3-year degree, which brings you out at what's called the level 6 qualification. The grad dip is a 1-year degree, which also brings you out a level 6 qualification. So both of those degrees would then allow you to apply to a postgraduate course. And the BA is very much structured around you developing and finding your voice as artists, being able to contextualize your practice within contemporary practice and contemporary discourse, and be able to realize a body of work and think about how you want your work to meet an audience and have the opportunity to do that through a couple of exhibition moments. So the colors in the different grids represent different units. And as you can see, we don't have a huge number of units in our degree. It's very much focused around spending time in the studio and then the art histories lectures. And the hot pink color in the first half of every academic year is the art histories program. In first year and second year, it's lectures, seminars, and talks delivered on a Wednesday, where you're assessed through doing a presentation and an essay and accumulates in the dissertation in the third year. And then alongside that, the other units are studio units. In first year, you do 3 studio units. In second year, you do 2. In third year, you do 1 long studio unit, which is the purple unit. And then in the second term, you do something called professional practice, where we sort of talk about some of the other aspects of developing as an artist, from looking at different kinds of galleries, studio spaces, how to write different kinds of texts in order to apply for money and grants, an opportunity to meet some gallerists and curators to sort of think about the sort of different microcosms that exist within what you would call generally the art world, and how as an early graduate you might engage with that. We also bring in a lot of young artists to talk to you, and when we say young artists, we mean young in their career, to talk about their experience of those first few years out from graduation. The grad dip looks to develop a folio, which is at a level that you could then apply to an MA course. It's a 1-year degree. It's really for people who've perhaps got another undergraduate degree outside of fine art, but have an art practice. And so perhaps don't want to do another undergraduate degree over 3 years. They can do a 1-year course, prepare a portfolio, and then apply to MA courses. We're a completely independent art school. We sit outside of a bigger university structure in order to deliver a validated and accredited undergraduate and postgraduate degrees. Our courses are validated by an external university, which is now the Arts University of Bournemouth, AUB. So that's why their name appears here. They're our external validator. As students, you don't really have much to do with University Bournemouth, but their academic registrars approve our grades, and as well as sort of doing a graduation ceremony with us, you can, if you wish, also then do a more academic hat and cloak style graduation ceremony at University Bournemouth with the graduates from that university. Thanks, Georgina. Um, so yes, as I mentioned, the both courses accumulate in bringing art practice to a public, and both degrees take part in the degree show. And I just wanted to show some images of the kind of scale of work and the kind of materiality that students achieve by degree show, and the kind of community that we are. So we do a graduation ceremony within the space of the school itself. I don't know if you've toured the school, but I encourage you to come and tour the school if you're interested. We have an open day coming up that Georgina can talk about, and which students very much lead on as well in terms of the speeches. And yeah, the school has a very strong community sense about it, and we really like to kind of bring that through in everything we do and how we interact with you, and how you communicate with us as students within the school. Some more images of the grad show. The graduation exhibition is held within our Victorian studios on site in Kennington in London. This is a larger metal work that was achieved in the 2025 degree show. There was also a light component to it. You can see in the left-hand side there, which also involved some coding and some microcontroller work. So there was a small microcontroller the student developed with the support of some of our team, so that the light moved. The light sort of swung out on a kind of randomized circuit, and it would create moving shadows in the space. So there was a sort of another dimension to the work in the way that it held space and light worked as well. Yeah. And then in first and second year, we have an offsite interim show, which students self-organize. It's timetabled into our timetable as part of your degree, but as part of developing professional practice, learning to work together as a group, installing work, curating a show, fundraising for it. The students lead on that. And last year it was at the Handbag Factory, which is an amazing exhibition space not far from here in the converted industrial building in South London. And it will be held again there this year. Year 1 and 2 are currently fundraising for that at the moment, and have all these committees put together to curate the show, find sponsors. The school promotes the show externally, and it's a really fantastic opportunity for the students to learn about meeting their public and bringing work to an exhibition offsite that attracts the general public. And we also are inviting curators in this year on the Friday to do group crits with the students as well. And then just to sort of share how students learn, what is the site of teaching and learning at City and Guilds? It's very much a studio-based learning environment. All students are allocated their own studios from year 1, and every year you move through different studio spaces as you move through the years, with bigger allocation of space as you go along. Alongside that, we have incredible workshops, which we very much treat as studio spaces and encourage students to develop work within the workshops. They're not just spaces to go in with the sort of design and execute. The technicians and tutors in those workshops are artists that are there to support our students in developing their work, coming up with ideas, or helping them, what is the technical realization of an idea. So on the left is we have a very special glass workshop. It's quite unusual to still have this kind of workshop within an art school, and we have specialist technicians that support you if you want to work in glass as part of your expanded practice or make it a focus of your practice, you can. And this is one of the glass kilns where we can't blow glass, but we can slump glass and work with heated glass and other kinds of ways of working with glass. And on the right is one of the fine art studios in the Georgian buildings. Um, we have very specialist print workshops as well that can support monoprints, etching, and screen printing. And the school has a long history of supporting printmaking and artists developing print and artist books. You get inducted into the casting workshop and the print workshop within year one, and then you are free to walk into those workshops and use them, work with them, and develop your work. It's very much an open access approach to the workshops because we are a small school and we have a small community. Currently, you don't necessarily need to book ahead. Sometimes they might be busy, but the tutors and technicians can really make space to support you in your working. And on the right is another of the fine arts studios. On the left is one of the fine arts studios in the Victorian studios, which become part of the exhibition space. And on the right is one of the kilns that we have. So we have ceramic kilns and we have glass kilns. Yep, going forward. We also have incredible metal working workshops where we can work with hot and cold metal, casting in the foundry, and we can do a number of different kinds of foundry casting. You just need to talk to the technicians, and often you might work across 3 workshops in order to achieve something. So you might be developing something in casting that you then take into the foundry, and all of the technicians and tutors um, are very understanding of these kind of processes and can send you across and through workshops in order to develop quite complicated outcomes if that's something you're looking to achieve. So yeah, workshops include the wood workshop, hot and cold metal foundry, casting, etching. There's a specialist drawing room where life drawing classes are held weekly for all students that are interested to attend. And that's also a great moment where you might have students from different years across the BA, postgraduate students, but also we have other courses running here in stone carving, wood carving, and conservation. And some of those students you might meet in life drawing. So, like the drawing room is quite important as a kind of a cross school moment, but also the provision of life drawing is offered to everyone in these night classes. Yeah, slump glass, the ceramic kilns, screen printing, and we also have an analog photographic darkroom as well. Um, Being based in London, we really take advantage of the incredible range of amazing institutions, cultural institutions that are on offer. And we also think beyond galleries into other kinds of cultural institutions that might be important to support research as artists. Where might you find your ideas? And these are some of the study visits that we've organized this year, but it's not sort of exclusive in any way. We visit the Tate Modern and the Tate Britain a lot. The Tate Britain is very close. We organized a special trip to the Tate Archive of Artist Books this year for the first years in order to get them going on their first kind of artist book project. Visited the Hunterian Museum, Science Museum, Wellcome Trust, lots of commercial galleries in central London, but also then more institutional and artist-run spaces across South London. We'll be going to the Goldsmiths Women's Art Library this year, the Drawing Room, Gasworks, and more. All of the staff on the BA and the grad dip are practicing artists themselves. And this is just a list of everyone who's working on the program this year across art histories and the undergraduate studio teaching. So Haf Anur is an MA graduate of City and Guilds. He has a really interesting practice looking at a sort of post-colonial history and materiality, and it's an expanded painting practice that comes out of sort of sculptural objects and ideas related to its personal heritage and history. Kim Amis is an artist who has a real specialism in life modeling, and she works across the BA, but also into carving and conservation. And yeah, she has a lot of really incredible technical skill, but also has a very interesting art practice as well. Andrew Bannister, Andy, is the third year lead. He has a sculptural practice working in sound, installation, kind of expanded practice. He's also a very interesting musician. Kate Dunn is the first year lead. She did an undergraduate study in traditional oil painting in Florence, Italy, and has an incredible wealth of painting expertise and technique. But she now takes that and works into a more expanded and contemporary art practice around looking at the materiality of painting. She does a lot of teaching into year one in order for you guys to acquire quite quickly some technical oil painting skills that you can then choose to develop or not, depending on the kind of practice you're looking to develop going forward. Kira Bennett studied at the Royal College of Art. She's I suppose you call her a conceptual landscape painter. She's one of the co-year lead in year two, and she has a really playful and interesting kind of painting practice, thinking around landscape painting, abstraction, figuration, but in quite interesting ways around mark making and color. Gaurav Gupta is a graduate from Sitting Guilds, works more into kind of a liminal and abstract spaces of color, thinks about our heritage and how that exists within a contemporary space. He teaches mostly into year three. It's fine. Alice Wilson is a sculptor, but also works in art writing. She has a lot of technical sculpture experience, teaches a lot into year one in the early technical delivery, but then also tutors more in supporting students in their studio practice in year two and three that have interest in sculptural practice. Andrew Grassi is a painter. These are paintings, not photographs. They're tempera paintings, and he works from photographs. The work on the left was a collaboration he did with the Tate, where he was allowed to select some work from the collection, install it in a particular way, photograph it, and then he took those photographs and turned them into tempera paintings. He teaches mostly into year three and a little bit into year two. Laura Wilson teaches into art histories. This year, she's also delivering some enhancement workshops in performance and reading groups within studio. And she's currently undertaking a very big commission that she's received for the V&A in the new V&A Museum in Stratford with an outdoor public sculpture that she's installing. And this was an earlier work of hers, which was also a commission around a quarry where she worked with a performance group and a choir. Martina O'Shea is a graduate from the MA, a really interesting sculpture practice, working with lots of different materials and light, and also color. She's great also teaching into painting, thinking about color as well. Hugh Mendez teaches into year one. He does some of the technical delivery in painting in year one in those workshops. He also teaches into year two and three, so he teaches across all the years. We also have student rep system and a student chair. So we have student reps in every year. They have meetings with the student chair. It's an opportunity for students to feed back to us about concerns they have about their studies, what we're doing well, what we're not doing well, additional needs that students have, so that we have a good feedback loop. And I then meet with the reps within Fine Art Undergraduate once a term to sort of feedback on things that have come to us, what we've done, what we still need to do, but also always trying to pick up on also what's coming through from students, things that still need attended to. And so, yeah, we have a chair of students and we have a student committee rep as well who looks more at social activities. And yes, we're a small community, but we really value community activities. We had a Halloween party this year that was hosted by Conservation. We had a winter party that was hosted by the Carving School. We've had special events for our international students to meet each other. And on the left is our student Alice, who was in the Jerwood Painting Prize this year, and her being visited by lots of students across all the years supporting her in that show. Um, yeah, so there are moments where we do have crossovers, like we have group crits across year 3 and 2. We'll also have group crits across the MA and year 3. We do open studios across the school for students to come into other studios and meet each other. And also in the build up to the degree show, other years support the third years in installing their work. So applications have already opened. And if you're interested in applying, it's a very, very straightforward process with an online form. We sit outside of UCAS, so you can apply to us additionally alongside the sort of maximum number of applicants you can put through UCAS. And there's an email, but there's also a WhatsApp number. So if you've got any questions, you just want to WhatsApp to the admissions team. If you use that number, you'll get a response during office hours. And yeah, so thank you so much. I think you've heard enough from me. We've got two fantastic student ambassadors here to kind of give you their perspective of the student experience so far. So thanks, Georgina.
Thank you, Marita. That was great. So I'm just going to take a few minutes just to talk about fees, bursaries, funding, and also the application process. So I've put the fees for the BA Fine Art course on the screen, and you can see the two tuition fee levels. So we've got the home fee and the international fee. And course fees can be covered by a range of different means depending on your personal circumstances. So, if you're a home student, you may want to consider applying for a student loan from Student Finance England to cover a part of your tuition fee. And information on how to apply and the terms for repayment are available on the Student Finance website. It's important to note that whilst you can obtain a student loan towards your tuition fees, the student loan for undergraduate courses will not cover the full amount of our fees, and this is due to our status as an independent institution. But to cover this gap between the amount you can get from your loan and the amount that we charge in our fees, we offer a wide range of bursaries. About the applications process, applications for the next academic year are currently open, as Marita mentioned, and we operate outside UCAS. So lots of people who apply for our programs actually say it's one of the easiest application forms they've ever done because it's on our website. You just input all your information into it, and we ask for a personal statement, information about yourselves, your residency status, and then we also ask for a digital portfolio of work. For the digital portfolio, we recommend that you display between 15 to 20 images, and you should choose images that you consider to be your strongest from the past couple of years that really represent a range of your interests and also your practice. So we want to see a range of developmental work, some finished work, and also a variety of processes or approaches that you're interested in. Entry requirements for the BA Fine Art course are 112 UCAS points, excluding a foundation. So, for example, 3 GCE A-level passes at ACC or BCC or above, or a foundation diploma at a pass or above, plus 2 GCE A-levels that are not lower than a D. For international applicants, we just ask the equivalent of 112 UCAS points. So there's some really good guidance on the UCAS website for translating international qualifications to that point system. We also offer entry to applicants who come through the experiential route. So maybe if you don't have formal qualifications, but you do have a practice which you've established or you've been working on and developing, maybe you are changing careers and you don't necessarily have those formal qualifications, but you still want to pursue a BA Fine Art. We do recognize your experience either working in the creative industry or your experience attending things like short courses and creating work and building a portfolio. So we recommend you still apply even if you don't quite meet that. You can be considered within the experiential route. So when you apply for the course and you're invited for an interview, we will share all of the interview questions with you in advance so you can prepare. And the interviews take around 30 minutes. And it's a really nice opportunity for us to just look through your work, get to know you a little bit more. And also, as Marita mentioned before, we do have an open day coming up. So that's on Saturday, the 28th of February at 11 a.m. So if you do want to come see the site, see our facilities, see the workshops, and also meet us in person, we really welcome you to sign up to that. If you have any more questions after this, so we've got a Q&A at the end of this session, but if any more questions come up, you can also contact the admissions team and I'll just drop that email in the chat in a moment. So thank you for listening, and I will just pass over to Zemfira to get started now.
Hi, so as Georgina said, I'm a first year BA Fine Art student. So I just collected a few photos to kind of show you my experience so far. So here I have just stills from the beginning of the academic year when we had a variety of workshops. So the first photo on the left, that was a 10-day live drawing kind of project that we started off with, and it was really interesting because it allowed us kind of just to get going and to not really think about what we're creating, but to actually get into making and not really being in your own head about it. Um, After that, in the middle, there's a photo from our sculpture induction workshop that was 2 or 3 days long. And it just kind of allowed us to see the different processes of sculpture, the different workshops we can use to do that if it interests us. And then on the right-hand side, that's just an overview of our first year studio spaces. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is like works from introductory projects. So the first term, we have a variety of those kinds of projects. So the photo on the left is from our week-long oil painting workshop when we explored different mediums, backgrounds. As Marita said, we had a lot of like classical knowledge that Kate taught us and Hugh as well. So it was really exciting to experiment with a variety of things and different techniques. After that, we had like a charcoal drawing induction. We learned different techniques and how to create different textures. Then there's also, we made the photo in the middle towards the right is we made a frame and how to make armatures and things like that in the wood workshop. So that kind of also included a wood workshop induction. So that's really cool because it kind of allows you to learn how to use all the machines, and afterwards, if you want to incorporate that into your practice, you're free to go in and experiment in there as well. Next slide, please. So this is just photo overall of the studio spaces. So typically in the first year, you're kind of given one of these walls that you're seeing on the left-hand side, and you share with 1 to 2 other people, which is great because obviously everyone gets a really generous allocation of space. And we're encouraged to make mood boards, kind of make it our own. So they're definitely not very bare, as you can see, and we're definitely encouraged to kind of move into the spaces, explore within them, use them within our works. Even now we had a crit, people were doing performance pieces within these spaces, so they're kind of a base for you to kind of touch down in your studies in the first year and all throughout your BA. All the tutorials also happen here and crits as well. So this is kind of an overview of what I've been up to so far within first year. I mainly do painting and photography work, so I combine the two. So these are just kind of on the left-hand side is a painting I worked on at the start of the year. In the middle is the body book that created for our first body book project. As Marisa was saying, we had a trip to the Tate archives for this to look at other artists' books, which is really exciting because you're going to get to look at how you can expand this into then being your practice and what it can look like in the professional world. Yeah. Then these are photos from some gallery trips that we've been on. We went to the Nicoletti Gallery, which is a contemporary gallery in Shoreditch. We then also went to some bigger museums like the Science Museum, the Hunterian. We went to the Peter Doig exhibition at the Serpentine. So it's a really exciting mix of both institutionalized museums and then smaller galleries to see kind of a glimpse into what your professional practice. Yeah.
Hello, I think you're back. I think you froze just for a second.
Sorry, just froze for a second. Where did I cut
No
off?
worries. You were talking about how the gallery visits informed your professional practice.
Oh yeah, I was just kind of saying that you can kind of see a mix of things and kind of get a glimpse, especially with the smaller contemporary galleries, um, what your works can be exhibited as in the future. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So I'll hand over to you, Anastasia, to present your work.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Anastasia. Currently at my third year of studies at City and Guilds. Within my practice, I'm currently investigating the fragmentation of individuality, and I'm trying to synthesize these fragmented experiences visually into a cohesive storyline. Next slide, please. So I usually go all over the place in the process, and in my previous institution, this approach was discouraged, but luckily at City and Guilds, I was very much supported and I was given actual guidance throughout of how not to get lost with these different languages that I'm exploring, but rather push my subject matter further through it. Next slide, please. Which is people and experiences. I mostly work with acrylics, and I'm pretty figurative. I do work with found imagery as well as family archival photographs as references, and I use some aspects of collaging, or at least I'm trying to learn how to use the collaging technique within painting my works to create spaces that read in between other spaces. Next slide, please. So eventually, I do want to expand my practice further into work with cultural heritage and collective memory and memory preservation through art in particular. Next slide, please. Yeah, so currently within my practice in the third year, I'm searching for tools and symbols that can work for the international viewers' perception. And I focused mostly on objects and scenes that I've seen that are connected to my memory in particular and my family moments. And they aim to create the sense of emergency of holding on to the moment, holding on to something. Next slide, please. So yeah, finding objects or scenes from memories which can potentially translate something very personal while staying anonymous to a certain extent with events portrayed. Next slide, please. So my story at City and Guild began last year. I was a direct entry into the second year of studies, and I have huge campus university background, so it was very important for me to be a part of a smaller, more intimate community where teaching actually feels personal. And it also translated directly into peer learning environment because we have crits within our year groups, but we also have cross-year crits and sometimes even cross disciplines, which I found very interesting and unique experience. And also, of course, tutors time, because we're a small school. If you want and need, you can get tutorials almost like every single week, especially if you feel stuck and you need some guidance. No one will, at least in my personal experience and like my friends' experience, there was never a case when a tutor said no. Even if the tutorial is not scheduled, you can always count on guidance at City and Guilds of London Art School. Next slide, please. And again, because the community is pretty small, we get very generous student spaces, I would say. and everything is very accessible. All of the spaces are open and you can walk into other studios whenever you feel like it. Same goes for other disciplines. Like you can go into carver studios, just like interact with MA, with foundation. Yeah. Next slide, please. And again, what was very important for me was the variety of things that you're able to try. Again, from metal to glass workshops, which Marita covered. We also have student-run workshops. We had skill shares last year, and they're very different every single year because they're fully created and run by the students on a voluntary basis. And it's just very interesting experience. You get to try different materials as well as just like communicate and network within your university's culture. And we also get external workshops. For instance, the cardboard one, it was a workshop from a filmographer who was doing a residency in London, and students just got invited to participate and try the fast sculpture method that he is using to create props within his films. And of course, we have like live drawing sessions. We also have yoga sessions now, which is also a fun addition. And something always is going on in university in general. Next slide, please. We have competitions, both internal and external. For instance, the picture in the middle is the show for the drawing prize, which every student had a chance to participate in. But we also have external ones. For example, the travel prizes. Last year, I did participate in the Skinner's Company one, and I got funding for a research project, which gave me a chance to spend almost a month in Portugal investigating the mechanics of cultural preservation through art. And I actually attended a lot of workshops, had face-to-face talks with different artists, sculptors who are working with elements that I want to expand into as well. Next slide, please. And again, the interim show, the factory show, which you get to organize, fundraise, curate, market, do everything on your own. Second years together with the first years. And it actually felt like a huge team effort last year. And it was very interesting to see how connections actually developed throughout this whole organizational process. And you were not, even if you were assigned to a particular group, you were not responsible just for that. Like in the end of the day, when it came down to the installation, everybody was just like helping with everything around. Next slide, please. Yeah, so it was a huge team effort, and I do believe that this kind of atmosphere is actually cultivated due to us spending time in a very tight community, and I do believe that it matters for the future connections as well. And I really hope that this networks and connections will stay after the graduation. Yeah, thank you so much.